let's talk about self-discipline. So it's quite common for people to know what they've got to do to achieve a particular goal, but actually getting themselves to do the daily tasks that are going to lead you to that goal can be really, really difficult. And people will quite often refer to themselves as lacking self-discipline or lacking willpower, etc. So I'm going to talk to you about self-discipline and a few little hints and tips to build that willpower habit or build the self-discipline that will actually get you towards a goal. So self-discipline is what we call a keystone habit. So every behaviour we have, or most of the behaviours that we have, are habit patterns. So they're an automatic behaviour that we've practiced a number of times over and over and over, that they've become autonomous. We don't even have to think about them anymore. So a keystone habit is a habit that we can change or work on that will have a ripple effect into other areas of your life. And self-discipline is one of those. If you think how many different scenarios in your life where you may need self-discipline to get you through, it could be the self-discipline to study, the self-discipline to get up in the morning for work, the self-discipline to do the tasks that you don't want to necessarily do, etc. So if you can learn some tips and strategies on how to become more disciplined, then those habits are likely to lead you more towards success, because you can be disciplined enough to do the tasks whether you want to do them or not. Okay, so the first thing to have a think about is breaking it down to specifics. So rather than just saying I'm not disciplined enough to stick to a diet, or I lose willpower, or I'm not disciplined enough to go to training because when I'm tired I just decide not to go, etc. Start making a list of the actual specific things that you're lacking self-discipline with. And I don't mean diet, that's a very, very vague topic. So do you lack self-discipline when somebody offers you a biscuit at work, for example? So it's the occasions when you know you should say no to something and you should be disciplined, but you cave in. But get specific. So is it when, the kids have half finished their tea and you don't want to throw the rest of it in the bin, so that you wallop in a couple of chicken nuggets and a handful of chips? Is it that when you're getting the kids snacks out of the snack cupboards and you're giving them a bag of Quavers, you're having a handful of them and you're grabbing yourself a bag at the same time? So start to get really, really specific. What are the occasions and what are the specifics of where you're lacking self-discipline? Is it that you don't want to drink through the week, but come Tuesday night you can't help but bust open a bottle of wine? So start to get really, really specific. What a lot of people do and where they fail is they group too many things into one goal. So they'll say, I'm gonna eat healthy from this week. But then to stop the biscuits at work and to stop the Tuesday night wine and to stop the Quavers from the kids' cupboard and stuff, there's too many tests of willpower happening throughout the day, and too many opportunities to fail. So get really, really specific with the things that are dragging you off track and the things that you're struggling to have discipline with. Then, once you've got specific, pick just one of them to start with. So if you think, right, I get offered a biscuit at least, twice a week at work or twice a day or whatever, that's the one that I'm going to work on this week. Everything else I'm not going to stress about for now, the Tuesday night wine and the Quavers and stuff like that. But the one habit I'm going to practice discipline with at the moment is saying no to biscuits at work, okay? And give yourself a little reward. So have something as an alternative to that biscuit, so a healthier snack or something in your handbag. And practice saying no. Make it a focus that is the one thing you're going to work on this week, is learning to say no to people at work that offer you something you shouldn't be having. Okay, so once you know what your specifics are and you've picked one specific thing to work on, then print or keep some sort of habit tracker. A diary is absolutely fine. I prefer like a visual up on a wall of just like, so many days in a row, etc. We normally say 66 days is what it takes on average to change a habit. You can actually do it much quicker because some habits are easier to knock on the head than others. But I have a downloadable 66-day tracker. Get in touch if you want it. And basically you pin that up to your wall. It could be at your desk if you're at work and it's at work where you're going to be practicing that discipline habit, or it could be on the snack cupboard at home, or wherever you want to stick that calendar. And Every day you manage to say no and not cave, you tick that box. And what happens is, and the way that human psychology works is, as we rack up a load of ticks, you become very reluctant to break a winning streak. So by keeping a visual and giving yourself that little tick, it's almost like a little star chart. And we're adults and we might think that that's for children, but the reason teachers use it for children is because it's really motivating and it actually works. So keep a visual. So know what your triggers are and get specific. Pick just one at a time to work on. When you've decided to work on that one, get a tracker. Tick how many times you've managed to say no, or how many days in a row you've managed to say no to something. And instead of building the habit of eating healthy, build the habit of willpower. Build the habit of self-discipline, of saying no. Pick something you know that it's relatively easy to say no to start with. You might find it easier to say no to a biscuit at work than you do to say no to a glass of wine in the evening. So let's not tackle the glass of wine just yet. Let's start off with the easy wins first, and then we can layer in the more difficult ones afterwards. The other thing is removing temptation. So if there's always a tub of biscuits in the staff room, do you need to go in the staff room? Can you remove yourself from that situation? Can you remove temptation from yourself completely? So I know a lot of parents will have a lot of snacks in the house for the kids. So like chocolate biscuits, chocolate bars, ice creams and things like that. That they're in a communal space that you have access to all the time. So it only takes you to have a moment of weakness and see that item to then cave. So how can you remove those items from your temptation? So have a designated cupboard for the kids, that you buy stuff for the kids, not stuff for you, and it goes in that cupboard, and you avoid that cupboard like the plague. And if the kids want something out of that cupboard, they go and get something out of that cupboard, but you'll remove things from your environment if you can, and that is going to help you to stay strong. Start to reward yourself for saying no to stuff. So if you manage to say no to a biscuit at work every single day of the week, give yourself a little reward on a Friday. You don't have to, I normally say try not to make it something that's unhealthy, but put a quid in a pot or something, and after your 66 days buy yourself a new diary or a new pen or something that something that's a little reward for sticking to it. Give yourself rewards. Don't wait until you feel in the mood or you feel motivated. So this is a big myth. People think, well, I'm not very motivated to stick to diet at the minute. Motivation doesn't come into it. Discipline comes into it. And if you're not very disciplined, we have to start building the habit of discipline. And that comes with picking one thing you're going to practice being disciplined about and doing it day in, day out. And then when you've nailed that one, you can layer in something else, choose something else to be disciplined about. I like to try and choose two things with clients. I know I said pick one thing, but I like to ask clients, if you could form one positive habit that required discipline, what would it be? And people might say going to the gym, or keeping a food diary, or drinking more water, etc. So think of one positive habit that doesn't exist in your life consistently that you'd like to build self-discipline on, just one habit. And then have a think about one bad habit in your lifestyle that you'd love to break, and try and have one that you're going to make and one that you're going to break, and practice that daily self-discipline. So it could be that the habit that you want to make is drinking more water, and the habit that you want to break is eating biscuits at work. Those two should be very, very achievable. But when you group them together into eat healthy, don't eat any junk, it just becomes too overwhelming. It's not specific enough. So think about one habit that you'd love to make, a positive one, and one bad habit that you'd love to break. Get really, really specific, print off a tracker and start ticking the days off. And the aim at the minute is to practice saying no to the junk or to the one specific thing. And the practice with the other one, the one that you're trying to build, is practice forcing yourself to do something that you can't necessarily be bothered doing. And what happens is, after about 21 days, you'll pop through the other side and it won't be a conscious decision anymore. People stop offering you the biscuits and you'll just say no automatically without thinking, should I, shouldn't I, or challenging decision. It'll just be no. And you'll get your snack out. you'll automatically drink a cup of water in the morning before you've had your cup of coffee because you've been doing it and you've been building that habit. But most people don't push through. They start a diet and before even 2 weeks is through, they're already cheating on it. They're not building enough self-discipline. So pick something to work on, a positive habit to make and a negative habit to break. And then have, like I said, structured rewards. So decide what you're going to treat yourself to if you manage to avoid the biscuits for a week. Decide what you're going to treat yourself to if you manage to drink a glass of water every day or a litre of water every day, etc. It doesn't have to be anything massive. It could be that you're going to treat yourself to a new nail polish or whatever it might be, but we work really, really well with reward systems. So just to summarise, get specific. Know the habits that you have that you're not very self-disciplined with. Pick one specific habit at a time, or one to make, one to break. Have structured rewards, remove temptations, and practice saying no. Build that self-discipline habit. What you'll find is then it'll start having a follow-on, like a ripple effect into other areas of your life and other habits, but it's got to start somewhere and it's got to start basic. Any questions, give me a shout, give it a go. Get in touch from my 66-day habit tracker if you'd like a download to help you visualise your success a little bit more. And more importantly, let me know what you choose and let me know how you progress. Good luck.